Thank you, Nishtha, and good afternoon to everyone. Thanks, Arnab, for inviting me and to the team of MRC for this very important occasion on World Maritime Day functions. As Nishtha has mentioned, that I would be speaking on some aspects of the blue economy and sustainability aspects, which Ministry of Earth Sciences, which I'm representing here, has been spearheading after the initial thrust was given by the Economic Advisory Committee to the PM, which had formulated the 7 working groups, if people here in the audience would not know about, on how to formulate the blue economy concepts for India. I think going by statistics, I need not repeat all those issues, but for the sake of today's day, we all know about the 7,500 kilometers of coastline and 1,300 odd islands in the country, about 14% of the population living in coastal areas, and about 4 million fishermen engaged in sustainable fisheries activities in India, 90% of trade volume, etc., etc. Having mentioned that, what we realized while we were working on how to formulate a comprehensive framework, I would say not a policy document for blue economy in India. We started with a draft policy document drawn out from the 7 working groups, as I mentioned, heading each of the critical sectors of the maritime domain, whether it be the shipping, whether it relates to manufacturing, to fisheries, environment, mapping, marine spatial planning, as mentioned by Arnab. So all these were comprehensively put into a framework document, and we had actually moved forward with the draft policy with the government. What the thought process presently is that we, instead of looking primarily at a policy perspective angle, it would ideally be left to the sectors to take forward their individual initiatives, whether it be the fisheries or the shipping, which have their own targets and their agendas which are there, like the Sagarmala project for the shipping, the fisheries policy is there, whereas the Ministry of Earth Sciences itself is steering the Deep Ocean Mission, as have been mentioned by one of the speakers, Dr. Curtis, I believe, which has the verticals dealing with science, technology, and research in the deep sea areas. So these areas are where we are focusing on. And while we are working on individual sectors of the maritime domain, the capacity building aspects, as highlighted by Arnav and his team, and also by Curtis in his address, is very critical, because not only in the field of uh, maritime marine shipping, etc., but there are huge areas and gaps which we see specifically in the R&D and critical biotechnology areas emanating from the marine biotechnology aspects, which have not been adequately addressed in these, not only the school, college, as well as the higher education institutions. So a lot of opportunities in this sector are still available. To give you another very interesting highlight, which has been spearheaded by the ministry recently, has been on the biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction, which our External Affairs Minister, the treaty on BBNJ has been signed yesterday by the Government of India, which was again spearheaded by the Ministry of Earth Sciences. So we are actually signatory to protecting and conserving 64% of the ocean space which is existing, which has a large amount of biodiversity as well as resources which are still untapped and not very clearly mapped. So underwater domain awareness would, and the technologies would play a very, very crucial and critical role as we move forward to exploit these new areas which are beyond national jurisdiction to for the betterment of the humankind. I thought I will also at this juncture mention about some of the projects and points which we have been moving on a mission mode project, which are the deep ocean missions verticals. So one of the critical areas where we are developing is a manned submersible which would carry scientists and researchers to the deep ocean floor up to 6,000 meters. And we intend to have its first demonstrative launch somewhere before the end of this year, but not to 6,000 meters, just initial launch, and maybe another couple of years we would have the technology to go down to those depths. And parallelly, we are also looking at developing technologies for deep ocean mining, which again has to be done in a more pragmatic and following the regulatory codes established by the International Seabed Authority as and when it comes into being. But we should be ready to exploit those resources where we have our own area allotted to us by the Seabed Authority. The resource mapping has been done, environmental assessment is being ongoing for some time. We have the data, and these are all critical rare earths which would be required for future technologies. So there's a big linkages between what is being developed by the ministry for the future. And also, one of the key areas where we are working on under the Deep Ocean Mission is on ocean thermal energy, OTEC conversion, which is very critical for our island areas, which are lacking fresh water as well as energy, renewable energy sources. And an important aspect which was mentioned by Dr. Curtis also, that we have come out through our institute on the energy potential from our uh, Indian Ocean EZ through our institute INCOIS. So not only we have tapped into the offshore wind energy or the offshore wave energy, but also looked at such other areas of ocean energy such as salinity gradient. We have looked at currents, we have looked at tidal streams, etc. And a potential has been provided so that these can then be developed technologically as well as sustainably for our future generations. I think I'll not speak much now further on this and stop here. Maybe I'll take some questions at the end if required. Thank you, Arnab and his team, for inviting me. All the best for today. Thank you.